LeBron James.
Scream if you love EU4.
I was talking with Chairman Mao. He was telling me about how much he fucking hates sparrows. He had enough of them eating our grain seed and harming our agricultural yields. He wanted them all dead. I tried telling him that without the sparrows, the locust population would explode, and those little bastards really know how to damage crops. Unfortunately, he didn't listen, and a lot of good sparrows died for no reason. So I was sitting with Justiniani, and I told him, you know, tomorrow during the Turkish attack, you will be hit in later day that would lead to the fall of Constantinople. He obviously didn't listen, so I went to Mehmed and told him to attack at Kirkaporta while Constantine was making his speech. It was 1187 AD, and I was hooping with my good friend Pope Gregory VIII. Suddenly I saw a tweet from Adrian Wojnarowski saying that Jerusalem had fallen to Saladin's Muslim army. I said, oh hell nah. And I told the Pope. We immediately made a group chat consisting of me, King Richard I, King Philip I, and Emperor Frederick I. I emphasized the need for penance, redemption, and the recovery of the Holy Land. I told them to begin mobilizing their armies and resources immediately to march towards the Middle East. I was chopping it up with my good friend Martin Luther. This must have been 1962 or 63. I was telling him about this really crazy dream I had on the Red Hills of Georgia. The sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners were sitting together at the table of brotherhood. It made me think maybe one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal. I could see that it really resonated with him.
LeBron James.
Scream if you love Hoi 4.
I remember it was a warm summer's day on the North American plateau, probably around 115,000 years ago. Me and the boys were hunting bison. I speared one from about 30 feet. Shit was crazy. But as we sat around the campfire that evening, I couldn't help but feel like these warm temperatures weren't going to last forever. I literally said to some of the elders, I can sense an ice age on the horizon. This whole place is going to become a frozen wasteland. We have to move south. I was shooting the shit with my good friend Albert Einstein. He was telling me about how he introduced the cosmological constant into his theory of general relativity to create a static model of the universe. I was like, bro, why are you so invested in the universe being constant? What if it's expanding? He laughed and said, you know what, Bron, I've never considered that. I remember mid-World War II, the higher-ups gathered the greatest minds in the country at this place called Los Alamos. We were tasked with making a bomb that would end the war. Nuclear fission was the theory, but the path to a weaponized application wasn't easy. Then I had my eureka moment. I was like, what if we could isolate the fissile isotope uranium-235 and concentrate it to a critical mass, then introduce a burst of neutrons sufficient to induce a chain reaction? That explosive release of energy could be the key to a nuclear bomb. My colleague Robert J. Oppenheimer took all the credit, but that's okay. I'm just glad we got the job done. I remember it was a cold night, April 18th, 1775, probably around 11:30 p.m. I couldn't sleep. I just had this terrible feeling that the British were preparing to march to Concord to seize colonial weapons and arrest revolutionary leaders. I woke up my twin, Paul Revere, and was like, bro, you got to ride to Boston to warn Adams and Hancock that the British are coming. He said, what the fuck, Bron? How do you know? I'm like the three-eyed raven. I see shit. I was up on the moon getting some work in. I prefer to train in lower gravity because it's easier on the joints. Anyway, out of nowhere, a space shuttle appeared in the atmosphere and came in to land. Out stepped Neil Armstrong, acting all proud and shit. Apparently he thought he was the first man to step on the moon or something. I just laughed. And I said to Joseph, I know you want to modernize Soviet agriculture, but is forced collectivization of farms really the play? I don't think the peasants are going to be happy. And we've got a lot of mouths to feed. Big risk, if you ask me. We were just showing Stalin around the facility, and I pulled him to the side and said, Joseph, man, I know we don't always see eye to eye, but you got to listen to me on this. I really don't think we should simulate a power failure. The RBMK-1000 reactor is inherently unstable at low power levels. We risk creating a power surge that could cause a massive explosion and nuclear meltdown. It's not worth it. I was talking to George Bush. He was worried about Iraq's influence on world oil supply and their potential shift away from the petrodollar. I was like, why don't we just say they have weapons of mass destruction? Surely that would justify an invasion. And I said to Chairman Mao, I'm really not sure about the great leap forward, man. Shifting the focus from agriculture to backyard steel production seems like a risky move. We've got a lot of mouths to feed. And he was like, if my job's so easy, why don't you do it yourself? And I was like, sure, call me Mao Zedong. I was out in Jerusalem breaking bread with all the boys. Jesus was there, Andrew, John, Philip, all the disciples. We were supposed to be celebrating Passover, but for some reason the mood was off. I could see Judas wasn't eating his bread or drinking his wine. At first I thought maybe he's got a gluten intolerance and doesn't drink. But then I remembered him getting wasted and demolishing a tower of flatbreads at Peter's 20th birthday. I pulled Jesus to the side and was like, something seems off about Judas. I feel like he's plotting something. And he responded, I had a feeling someone was going to betray me, but I didn't think it would be Judas. Thanks, Bron. I remember after World War I, everyone was celebrating, dancing in the streets. People were calling it the war to end all wars. But I couldn't be happy because I knew round two was inevitable. I literally told Savannah, the Treaty of Versailles is too harsh. I want to punish the Germans as much as anyone, but this is too far. It's a tinderbox waiting to explode. I was with Moses leading the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt when we ran into some serious trouble. We were trapped. Pharaoh's mighty army on one side, the Red Sea on the other. Everyone was bummed out, thinking we were doomed. I smiled, turned to Aaron and said, just watch. Moses is going to part the Red Sea, allowing us to make our escape. If the Pharaoh's army follow, they'll regret it. I was just chilling in Tiananmen Square, eating some dumplings, chopping it up with this local baddie I was wheeling. I could see the protests were getting more intense. Then all of a sudden I sensed an energy shift. I knew I needed to get out of there. And just a few hours later, the PLA rolled in. I never saw that girl again. I hope she didn't get ran over by a tank. And I said to Winston Churchill, we've really got to establish a foothold in Western Europe. And I think our best bet is a large-scale invasion on the beaches of Normandy. We throw everything we've got at them. The Soviets are rolling right now, and the Germans don't have the resources to fight a war on two fronts. This is our chance. I said to Adolf, are you sure you want to fight a war on two fronts? Now we've already got our hands full with the West. Do we really want to take on a powerhouse like the Soviet Union at the same time? And to be honest, I think that that would stretch our resources too thin. He said not to worry and that it'd be over quick. And I was like, I don't know, man. You can't underestimate the resilience of the Soviet people. Plus, the harsh winter means we're on the clock. I was just chilling with the other brontosaurus, using my long-ass neck to eat some eucalyptus leaves. As I was looking up, I saw something in the sky. No one knew what it was, and then it dawned on me. I said to the homies, I don't want to alarm anyone, but I think that's a celestial object from the asteroid belt plummeting towards Earth at 27,000 miles per hour. So live today like it's your last, because it probably is. I was out in Tokyo enjoying a nice sushi dinner with my good friend Satoshi. We were just chopping it up, talking about the economy. I was saying how great it would be to have a completely decentralized currency system that is mathematically coded to be a hedge against inflation. Apparently that talk inspired him to create Bitcoin. I remember about 400,000 years ago, I was chilling with my hunter-gatherer tribe eating some chewy-ass antelope. I was like, damn, I wish we could cook this shit somehow. A couple days later, while sharpening a spear point with a rock, I noticed a spark fly when the flint scraped against it. I was like, oh shit, maybe hitting two rocks together could create more sparks. Maybe that could ignite some dry leaves. It took hours, but eventually I caught a spark and a tiny ember glowed in my tinder bundle. The whole tribe gathered around in amazement. We were all in a broken building, sat around a fire eating our stew, and I said to my comrades, if we just hold out for a few more months, the harsh Soviet winter will do the rest. Those Germans aren't equipped for the extreme cold. Stalingrad will not fall. Trust me. Man, those were the days. You know, now I've got to go to battle with Darvin Ham and Torian Prince. Shit makes me sad. Yeah, that was a whole different level of intensity. We knew Omaha was going to be tough, but damn, Krauts had that whole place locked down. Lost a lot of good brothers out there today, but we never gave up. We fought back, we adjusted, and we took the fucking beach. That gets us back in the game, but there's a long road ahead. Job's not finished. Berlin, I'll see you soon.